Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful Monday afternoon and making GPS a part of your afternoon. So, today is Monday, and every Monday we do an open line, Masterclass Monday with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. Today is going to be the same. I'm going to invite my producer to see if you can zoom in on him a little closer, Jason. Try to get the camera a bit closer to him so he's not so far away. So we can, that's a little better, a little bit more, so we can look like we are in the same room, even though I'm on the other side of the island. Center him up. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put out the contacts for how persons can become a part of the show. So if you have a question for Professor Thompson, or if you want to make a comment as it relates to the Constitution, these are the numbers to call: 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm or Global 99.5 FM pages. We're also streaming live to our YouTube channels. And of course, you can catch us on Cable Bahamas channel 974, or you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. And of course, you can catch us by way of radio, Global 99.5 FM on your dial here in New Providence. And also you can listen to us by way of radio in Grand Bahama, the other family islands, and also for those of you tuning in from outside the country, welcome, 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 welcome. All right, there he is, Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson, and all his finery. Professor Thompson, how doest thou today?
I'm doing well, Ms. Malcolm, and I trust all is well with you. And good afternoon, Bahamas. It's good to be here on Mondays. Of course, you know this is a special day for me on this show because we discuss the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I believe with things happening now,
yes,
influx of information
right
that people are getting, there will be a whole army of questions, constitutional questions.
Yes.
all constitutional questions are important. They're not always easy to answer. I tell people constitutional questions are very difficult sometimes. And it's the way how you throw the question at me, how it is asked, and then I can answer accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be as accurate and precise as I possibly can be, because I know there's too much misinformation. I heard
Okay.
it no longer than today on the radio by certain personalities who are misleading the public. This is a very serious issue at a critical time like this when Bahamian people are asking pertinent questions.
Right.
And I believe these individuals do the Bahamas a favor. If they don't know, just tell them you don't know.
Mm.
But the problem I've found with carnal nature is that people don't want to admit when they're wrong. If you ask a constitutional question
Right.
and I am not able to answer you according to the Constitution at that particular time, I may have to do some further checking. I will tell you I have to look further into that.
Right.
But when I answer a constitutional question, that is it, Bahamians. I ain't coming back to apologize for nothing. Because I want to give you correct, precise, accurate information. Because that is extremely important in this nation today because of tremendous misinformation that's being put out there by personalities who claim to know what they're talking about. And they're not qualified to say anything. But they have a right to express their view. I don't have a problem with that. The Constitution didn't say it has to be right. It didn't say it has to be constitutionally sound. But if you're talking foolishness and nonsense, it is not constitutionally sound. You'll get a constitutional answer on that too. But the thing is, this is no time for fooling around. The country is in serious trouble. We have a whole army of problems that have been brewing for the last 50 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
We need some answers, Bahamians, some solid answers. And the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is the best document to work with. If you're talking about building a nation, not these things these fellas write up and say they're governing by this or governing by that. That doesn't mean anything. What is important is, are they operating according to the supreme law of the land?
Mm-hmm.
That is the question I always ask myself when I hear them speak. Is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? If it is not, you don't need to go any further with that. That's a dead issue. If it is, well, then we could go further. All I'm simply saying is the Bahamian people are showing great interest in trying to understand the Constitution, but they're getting a lot of misinformation. So you got to be careful who you listen to when it comes to the Constitution of the Bahamas. You have to be very careful.
Okay, now we saw all of this flurry of activity over the weekend.
Yes.
The House has been prorogued all of a sudden. And a keen eye would figure out that this was something that was really done quickly, because if you look at the persons who showed up at the House of Assembly, they clearly didn't seem very, by their appearances, prepared for this announcement. It seems like they had to rush out there to make this announcement. So it really makes, I've been hearing all kinds of theories as to why the House had to be prorogued, and what could be in the thinking of the Prime Minister. From a constitutional standpoint, what took place over the weekend? What does the Constitution have to say with regard to the way that is handled?
Well, the Prime Minister can call a proroguing of the House at his pleasure.
Okay.
See, when you look at our Constitution, I always tell people this. The office of Prime Minister is like a gigantic octopus that spreads its tentacles into every single facet of Bahamian life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it is, Bahamians. We have not changed that constitution. And there are persons who may get into that office and they're going to see just how powerful it is. It's a very powerful office. It's like, well, let me put it this way. The only authority that can keep tabs on the prime minister is Parliament. Parliament has fallen down badly. I'm talking about the Senate. I'm talking about the House of Assembly. That's your Parliament. And of course, the Queen. That's what the Constitution says. But Parliament does not keep tabs on the Prime Minister. They simply go along, and as you can see, the way how the country is set up, just about every parliamentarian got one little post, chairman of this board. And look at the many boards that were created, the many authorities that were created, the many ambassadors were created, the many consultants that were created. Bahamians, it's just a whole army of people. Now there's speculation about the office of Governor General. And I've heard some comments from the person who's in the office of Prime Minister. And I just keep hearing the words, I think, I think, I think. I don't take too kindly to those kind of remarks. And perhaps I shouldn't expect much out of that particular personality. We are yet to hear from the Prime Minister himself. He made a brief remark about some things, what he said he had achieved during this present term in office. I was not impressed with what he said. But the thing is that there are so many pressing, burdensome issues that need attention immediately in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which he and his administration ought to deal with. Now, we have to watch things very closely. Let us hear what he has to say next week. What time next week, I don't know. In fact, it caught me off guard, too, because my sister just told me it already happened Saturday. I think it was in the afternoon, after 3, after 4, I got the information that the House was prorogued.
Mm-hmm.
And so it caught me by surprise. But then one should not be surprised by these things. Anything could happen. When a person exercises, and Bahamians, please get this, because it's in your Constitution, you know. That's why you need to know your Constitution. The office of Prime Minister is so powerful. And when any personality in that office sees the tremendous authority in that office could be used either for the good of the Bahamian people or used for the bad of the Bahamian people. It could go either way. Remember now, the only entity that keeps tabs on the office of Prime Minister is Parliament. And we look at the makeup of Parliament with all those personalities who got this position, that position, the next position. You wonder, where does the government end and where does Parliament start?
Mm.
Because there's a difference between the two. And then you got the party atmosphere all mixed up. Government, the Parliament, and the party. 3 entities right there. So sometimes you don't know, well, who the fella talking for? So we have a mixed up situation in our country. There should be clarity. Are you speaking for the government of Bahamas? Are you speaking as a private citizen? Are you speaking as a representative? These things, Ms. Malcolm and Bahamians, are not clearly defined. Are we operating constitutionally? I can let you think about that one.
So here's what I'll do for those who weren't familiar with what took place over the weekend, and maybe you weren't paying attention to the news or off the island or whatever.
Yes.
Here is a sound bite, a clip from the news report about the actual proroguing of Parliament. Here's that report.
The Davis-Cooper administration pulling an unexpected move over the weekend. Local authorities alerted media that police commissioner would deliver a proclamation on behalf of the governor general. Many speculated that a by-election was pending. Others speculated a new legislative agenda on the horizon. Our Theo Seeley was on the steps of the House of Assembly Saturday afternoon when the big announcement was made. He brings us all the details in tonight's top story.
Police Commissioner Clayton Fernander, in his capacity as Provost Marshal, delivering a proclamation on behalf of the Governor General on Saturday to prorogue the lower chamber.
His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Cornelius A. Smith, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, do hereby prorogue Parliament as from Saturday, the 12th day of August 2023. The next session of Parliament shall be held in the city of Nassau, in the island of New Providence, on Wednesday, the 4th day of October 2023.
Does this signal that a by-election is on the horizon, as a sitting MP has been charged with rape, assault, and threats of death?
Certainly, you're allowed to speculate. I wouldn't think that any of the things that you have mentioned really are any reason for proroguing the House today. I don't foresee a by-election. I don't foresee a general election. I don't foresee any of those items that you have mentioned.
That's Attorney General Ryan Pinder, and he says government prorogued the House to ensure that a new legislative agenda can be rolled out. He opted to focus on the good that has been done in the first 2.5 years in office. The AG highlighted everything the Davis-Cooper administration has been able to accomplish ahead of Saturday's proroguing of the House.
We lowered VAT right away in order to be able to provide a stimulus to the economic rebound for the country. We put Bahamians back to work. All of the hotels are full. All of the financial services industry is doing well. The construction industry is booming. If you want a job, you could find a job, maybe 2 or 3. We provided legislation for carbon credits, of which we are advancing and we're looking to really monetize within the next 12 months or so. We passed the National Investment Funds bill that we think is a basis for really providing financial wealth to the country to provide for its people. Whether that be in infrastructure, or whether that be preserving the natural resources. We had a series of legislative amendments and new bills that would address health care in the country, and that certainly is going to be a continued theme in the new legislative agenda that we will adopt from the speech from the throne in October.
Quite an extensive list rolled out by the Attorney General today, outlining exactly what has been done by the Davis-Cooper administration to date. But what about pending legislation that was on the table of the lower chamber prior to the proroguing of the House on Saturday?
Everything that was on the table that is being left, as you know, when you prorogue Parliament, any bills left on the table go away. We will bring all of those back.
And pressed by Eyewitness News to address the elephant in the room, the much-anticipated marijuana legislation. Will we finally see that tabled in the lower chamber this year?
So we are proceeding on our consultation initially with some private sessions with some interested parties. We certainly look to be in a position after the consultation and after we get feedback from important constituencies in the country to be able to proceed with tabling that legislation in the new legislative session. And my goal is certainly to have it tabled and debated before the end of the calendar year.
So we can definitely look at marijuana legislation before year's end?
Yes, absolutely.
But when the House does reconvene October 4th, the Attorney General says an aggressive new legislative agenda will be rolled out.
The Prime Minister will be addressing the nation with respect to some of those matters next week and the circumstances with respect to proroguing the House of Assembly.
Theo Seeley, Eyewitness News.
So when he says next week, he actually means this week because that was from Saturday past. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so we would expect to hear from the Prime Minister this week as to why this was done or whatever it is that the Prime Minister intends to advise us of. So you heard the report, and I know the producer's telling me we need to take a break, but I want to get your response to the report before we do take that break. What did you think after hearing what the Attorney General had to say?
That is a good
From
question.
a constitutional standpoint.
Oh, yeah, everything has to be from a constitutional standpoint. Otherwise, It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Let me just say what the reporter said about the Davis Cooper administration. He said that twice in his report. There's no such thing. See, the media got to learn to understand the Constitution. There is no such thing as no Davis Cooper administration. See, these are the kind of mistakes that the media continues to make without checking the facts. You have a Philip Davis administration, but there's no such thing as no Davis Cooper administration. That's not in our Constitution. There's no such thing. And so when people keep hearing these false information over and repeatedly, they begin to believe it. Now, let me get to what he said. He talked about bringing all these old things back. That's on the one end. Then he talked about a new legislative agenda. Well, what is new? If you're bringing all those old bills, what you say has been canceled or put out because of the proroguing of the House, well, then what's the purpose of proroguing the House?
Exactly.
Yes, the Prime Minister would have to answer that. Then you said two contradictory things. You're bringing these old bills back, right? You're talking about a new legislative agenda. Well, if you're bringing all them old things back, well, what is new? And the things that he said the government has done, I have never heard anything about immigration, about the crime problem. The things that he mentioned are, those are things that perhaps any new administration would have dealt with when they came to power. But Ms. Malcolm, we got some big ticket items that he didn't say one single thing to. He's supposed to be the Attorney General, supposed to give advice. He's supposed to be what the Constitution says, the person who has the authority to, he's the legal advisor to the government, the chief legal advisor to the government of the Bahamas. That's one of his duties is in the office of Attorney General. Plus, he's the Minister for Legal Affairs. All I'm saying, Ms. Malcolm and Bahamians, is the fact that you listen carefully to what the man is saying. And you can see contradictory statements in what he's saying. Well, we'll have to hear what the Prime Minister has to say, but I heard a brief remark that he made, basically some of the same points that the Attorney General said. He had that in his remarks. But we'll wait to see what he says, the real reason for proroguing the House, or if we ever going to get that, or we're going to have to dig to get that, and whether the press is smart enough to do that, that remains to be seen. Because sometimes some of the things I hear them ask, I say to myself, you're not even asking the right questions.
Wow.
You're not hitting the nail on the head. So what is the media doing? The media is supposed to be helping me. But see, I could check into things for myself. But scores of thousands of Bahamians listening to the radio would depend on the media. And the media has a role to play. I'm not knocking them for playing their role. But sometimes I question how they do it. And are they really interested in getting the facts, informing the Bahamian people accurately on these national issues? Because the things what was said to have been accomplished, you talked about now you could get more than 3, you could get 2 or 3 jobs. Who in the Bahamas has 2 and 3 jobs today? At this particular time, where we have such high unemployment. See, we have to look at things objectively, and sometimes people put up a little slant on these things. You have to put politics out of it. Look at the facts as they are. Because Bahamians are complaining about a whole lot of things. I listened to a couple of shows just before coming here to this show. And a lot of people are dissatisfied. I look at my own constituency. There are serious social problems in that constituency that have not been addressed. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. People just don't know how to behave. People are not being taught the law. He said all these laws are legislation that they passed. We seem to have a whole army of laws being passed. But are the people knowledgeable about these laws? When they stand before the magistrate, and the magistrate reading the penal code, that's the first time they had it in their lives. Nothing about no penal code. chapter 48? What is that? That's strange music to the ears of the person standing before the magistrate. But nobody takes that seriously. They don't know that. They're in ignorance of that. And the way how I see it, people do not know basic, fundamental statute laws. Even as much as throwing garbage in people's yard. They don't know how to properly dispose of their own crap. Okay? And you become a nuisance in the community, become a disturbance in the community. And yet, when you call the authorities, they don't come, they don't pay any attention. So, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But the remarks, I heard them. I don't think too much of them. He has a right to express his views. But the question is he constitutionally sound? I always ask myself that. This is Attorney General speaking, Not just any person. It's the man who's supposed to give this. He's the chief legal advisor to the government. So he ought not to be, notice what I said, he ought not to be flippant. He ought to always be sober and serious when he speaks. That may not always be the case. So when I listened to him, the question that kept coming to me is he constitutionally sound? Yes or no? Amos, you think about that as we go into the show.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this break. While we are in the break, we're going to give them an opportunity to think about it.
Yes.
And then we're going to break it down on the other side of the break. Okay? How's that sound?
Yes, ma'am. No, that's all right with me. I ain't got no problem with that.
All right, cool. All right, so let's take this break, and then we'll be back with more from GPS, Global Paradigm Shift, on this Masterclass Monday, as Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson breaks down the Constitution of the Bahamas for us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digyzyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company on this Masterclass Monday with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson, as we look at the Constitution of the Bahamas. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. If you haven't already done so, like and share the show. We're also streaming live to YouTube, and you can catch us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974 or on the Global 99.5 FM app, which you can download to your smart device and check us out there. Huge welcome to all of you listening by way of radio, whether it be here in New Providence, in Grand Bahama, across the family of islands, and of course, welcome to you all listening from outside the Bahamas. Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson is my regular on Mondays, and this is when we go through the Constitution of the Bahamas. And things keep happening that cause us to be going left, right, and center as we go through this Constitution. I feel like it's been forever since we have zoned in strictly on the Constitution, because we sort of got drawn away to compare it to the Nationality Act when this whole thing came out about alleged activities in the Department of Immigration. Now we see where the House has been prorogued, and we have to find out what that means from a constitutional standpoint, because a lot of people are confused, Professor. A lot of people somehow thought that once the House is prorogued, that meant that there was a by-election coming or a general election coming, and that's not necessarily the case according to our Constitution, correct?
That is correct, yes. And yes, people would think that way because of the misinformation that is floating out there. And this has been going on for some time. And because people just listen to what others are saying, and people tell them, and they hear it from this one and that one, and the information gets all mixed up and in confusion. And so it is my job to clarify constitutionally what the Constitution says. No, it doesn't mean that there'll even be a by-election, because circumstances can occur which can cause a by-election. For example, the death of a member of the House of Assembly. That will cause a by-election. Number two, the resignation of a member of the House of Assembly. That would be cause for by-election. So you have two situations that are there. Now, a particular person who may be a parliamentary secretary And I think in this latest case, the Prime Minister said he asked for the resignation of the particular individual, and he got the resignation of that particular individual. But the individual is still a member of the House of Assembly. So two things, basically: the death of a member of the House of Assembly, the resignation of a member of the House of Assembly. Under those two conditions, there will have to be a by-election.
So for the record, Mr. Cornish didn't resign as a member of Parliament.
No, he did not. He resigned as a parliamentary secretary. That is an office that is in the office of the Prime Minister. You know, the Constitution allows for him to appoint parliamentary secretaries. These are people who assist the minister. You know, the Prime Minister has some in his office and some may be in one or two other ministries. So they would be assisting the minister from the parliamentary level. That's higher than the Parliament Secretary. Now, you know, I've been hearing all this talk about Parliament Secretaries, Parliament Secretaries, and there is tremendous misinformation about the Parliament Secretary. I heard it up to today, and I mentioned some time ago, when you check your Constitution, you see something totally different. But they have these people on such a high pedestal. When the Constitution says the cabinet has overall, now listen carefully to what it says now, because you know people they don't read carefully or they don't understand. The cabinet has what? Overall direction. 2, overall control. 3, of the government of the Bahamas. It didn't say the Prime Minister, you know. It didn't say that. So you got to listen to the wording. Overall direction, that's the cabinet. Overall control. 3, of the government of the Bahamas. That's the cabinet, the Prime Minister, and 8, not less than 8. That's what the Constitution says. Now you can have more. You got plenty in there right now. The Permanent Secretary, according to the Constitution, is only a supervisor. Now, I don't know where they get this idea from that the Permanent Secretary is supposed to be in charge of the ministry. That's not in your Constitution. But I've heard it so many times, and people believe it and think that the Permanent Secretary is the boss. The Constitution doesn't say that. When a minister moves from the cabinet and the Prime Minister puts him over that ministry, the power and authority of that minister, 1, he has overall direction. Number 2, overall control of that particular ministry. That's his authority. No one is above that. No Permanent Secretary is above that. No parliamentary secretary is above that. We got to get this thing right, Bahamians. But we never get it right. And you just check the article that talks about the Permanent Secretary and see if you see any nonsense about the Permanent Secretary is to be in charge of the ministry. There's no such thing. But they keep it this foolishness and this nonsense. The Permanent Secretary is a supervisor. That's in your Constitution. The real authority rests with the minister, who has what? Overall direction, overall control of the ministry. He gets that from the cabinet. He has to report directly back to the cabinet. And so we got this whole thing all mixed up. And so they got these people high on a pedestal. Maybe that's the way they used to do it when we were colony. But not according to the Constitution. I would like for someone to come in to call the show today and tell me what's the difference. But I don't see it. It's not there. Check the article about the Permanent Secretary and see if you could find it.
So I have a comment from Liliana Jones, who is saying parliamentary secretary is in charge of the ministry. And you're saying that is exactly not true according to the Constitution.
It cannot be, because here is a minister appointed by the Prime Minister. The minister comes from a cabinet, has what? Overall direction. Number 2, overall control of what? The government. The prime minister appoints this particular personality and say, okay, I want you to go to the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Agriculture. Well, he takes that with him. He has overall direction, overall control of the Ministry of Agriculture. Don't we not understand that? Is that difficult for people to understand? He takes that from the cabinet. He represents the cabinet in the Ministry of Agriculture. It's the top gun. Now, some of them may not want to take responsibility. Now, that's a different kettle of fish. If you say that to me, then I could have a talk on that one. But it's not
I
constitutionally
think
sound.
because we've been doing it wrong for so
So you've been
long.
doing it wrong for more than half a century. And
Yeah.
that doesn't make it right. You could be driving on the right side of the road and the law says you're supposed to drive on the left side of the road. Does that change the law? I don't know of any changes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Maybe in one case with the Office of Attorney General, where they created a nice, comfortable position for some personality to get a good check. Because the Attorney General could very well have continued those same responsibilities. But they changed it. They didn't have to come to the Bahamian people to get approval to change it, but it has been changed. So we got to accept that. And someone asked me whether they had to come to the Bahamian people to have it approved. I said no, they could do that. But they did it. I don't have a problem with it because the Constitution supports it. Now, when you're doing crap, like I know some of them are doing now, and it is not constitutionally supported or constitutionally sound, that's where I draw the line. I don't care what nobody says after that. You show me from the Constitution that what you are saying is constitutionally sound. That's the thing we need to be thinking from here on out.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to find out if your guest is saying the same thing that, okay, the minister is the overall head of the ministry, but the day-to-day operation of the ministry is done by the permanent secretary. Is that the same thing that you're saying? Or are you saying something different?
Caller, I'm giving you a constitutional answer.
No, I'm asking you if that's what you're saying, different from what
No, but
happened today.
the proroguing of the House, that's a totally different thing also.
No, we ain't talking about rogue, and I said overall the ministries are run by the PS while they are headed by the minister. The day-to-day operation is done by the permanent secretary.
I know from the Constitution, and you could check it for yourself, it says the permanent secretary is the supervisor. Now, I don't know of any supervisors having all this kind of power. I don't know that.
But I mean, from we being in, from we was running
It does not matter.
institution from '67 to now, the permanent secretary was always the day-to-day running of the ministry, and the minister is the head of the ministry.
No. You got it wrong, man. See, you got to
But I
check
am
the
wrong.
Constitution.
No, I'm not talking about the Constitution. I'm saying what happens now. I don't know if that's what
Well, is
if
it
they run by the Constitution, but that's how it's been happening from years and years for decades.
So let me tell you something. Is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? But see, you
Yes,
don't
it's
know that.
constitutionally sound because again, the ministers are only head of their ministry, but the day-to-day operation is done by the PS, and that was happening for decades.
Well, I'm not going to.
So you're saying something different?
I'm not going any further than that.
What he is saying, caller, what he is saying is it doesn't matter how long we've been doing it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. That
No, that's what I'm telling him. That's
I
what
know.
I'm trying to tell him,
I'm just
but he
clarifying
doesn't
it
get
for
that.
him. What he is saying is that Constitution. He hung up. What he is saying is that constitutionally, the buck stops with the minister.
Exactly. That's
Right.
exactly what your Constitution says. Now, some of them may not want to take responsibility when things get messed up. He comes from the cabinet. The Constitution spells it out clearly. Overall direction, 1. Overall control, 2. Of the government, 3. Do you understand that? So when he goes to a ministry, He represents the cabinet. He has overall direction. He has overall control. 3 of the ministry. That's what he takes there. It didn't say he has just a little policy maker or he just watching over things. No. Just read the wording in your Constitution. Overall direction, overall control. You think those words were just put there just to say, take up space? Every word is important in this document. You can't take it lightly. But I've seen them put the permanent secretary up on this high pedestal. And I say, show me in the Constitution. Now, maybe when we were a colony, maybe they had some powers. Maybe they did. But that's not important anymore. It's what the current Constitution said, unless it must have changed and I wasn't informed. Of any changes in the Constitution, I'd be the first to know. Because it has to go to a referendum. I don't know of any referendum. Check the article that did, Miss Malcolm, tell the Bahamian people, check the article that talks about the permanent secretary. And I don't see nothing there that says where the permanent secretary has any superpower that they give them today. I don't know about that. That's all I'm saying. Now, it may have been a bad practice that's been going on for more than half a century or more.
Right.
But that doesn't make it right. You've been driving on the right side of the road and the law say drive on the left side. Does that make it right? The answer is no. Now, I'm not getting into who got the day-to-day trappings of the ministry. I'm not even interested in that. That's not important to me. I know what the Constitution says about the cabinet. I know what the Constitution says about the minister. That's what I'm talking about. Now, how they throw papers here, there, and everywhere, that's the internal things. I'm not interested in that.
Okay. We have to take a break. I have a question for you on the other side of the break as it relates to what does it mean for those cabinet posts once the House has been prorogued. I know that cabinet still meets in the absence of the House of Assembly meeting, but do those ministerial posts still have the same degree of authority that they had prior to the proroguing of Parliament, or has the proroguing of Parliament sort of made, for all intents and purposes, them null and void with the exception of a handful? Don't answer. Think on that. And then when we come back from the break, I want to address that. Okay? All right. Stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, fuel, track life, tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. We are coming to you live on Facebook, where we are streaming on the Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. If you haven't already done so, please like and share the show. We're also streaming live to our YouTube channels and also to Cable Bahamas channel 974. You can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and listen there. The telephone numbers to call if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271, 8010271. And a huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in to GPS today, whether by radio or YouTube or Facebook or cable or the app or any other which way that you're tuning in. Thank you so much for making this show part of your afternoon. So Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson is back. We're talking Constitution today, and more specifically as it relates to the proroguing of the House, which, in case you're living under a rock and don't know what's going on in the country, took place this past weekend when it seems that Prime Minister Davis abruptly prorogued the House. And that means that they get to start all over again in October. Now, before we dive into more of your comments, I want to ask this question that I asked prior to the break. And that is, now that the House of Assembly has been prorogued, what happens to all of those cabinet posts? Because I know cabinet continues to meet, but in essence, does the proroguing of the House sort of make those positions null and void until the House reconvenes in October, when we will learn if the same cabinet ministers hold the same posts or if there'll be any kind of cabinet shuffle or anything? What happens to those positions now that the House has been prorogued, according to our Constitution?
Ms. Malcolm, you asked a very good question, and I want to answer you constitutionally for the benefit of the Bahamian people, because these are very important questions that you're asking. I take it very, very seriously. What was prorogued? Parliament was prorogued, not the cabinet.
Yes.
See, there's a difference between the two. All right?
Okay.
The cabinet is appointed by who? The person selected by the parliament and recommended to the governor general to be the prime minister. The prime minister is in charge of the cabinet. Those who sit in that cabinet sit at what is called and considered to be the pleasure of the prime minister. So the cabinet was not prorogued. So that doesn't affect the cabinet. The cabinet continues on until such time as the prime minister decides he wants to change anyone who is there now and put someone else there. So it's under his jurisdiction. So the cabinet continues to function. They can continue to meet and run the country. So it doesn't affect the cabinet positions at all. They continue unabated. What happens, though, is that there is no activity in the Senate and there is no activity in the House of Assembly. And I think because people have not been taught their Constitution, as important as this document is for the running of the country, and yet you have so many people who want to be members of the House of Assembly. They don't even know what a parliamentarian is supposed to do. They don't even know what a member of the House is supposed to do. They don't even know what a senator is supposed to do. They just want a position. I'm senator this. I'm representative of that. MP, member of parliament. And they could rightly be called members of parliament. The Constitution says that. So I don't object to that at all. What I object to is the foolishness and the nonsense that's being perpetrated on the Bahamian people. And that is what we have to fix. So the cabinet continues unabated until the prime minister decides he wants to make a change or reappoint somebody. So there's no change as far as the cabinet is concerned. Ms. Malcolm, are you there? Mr. Producer, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if she lost me or what. But let me just say for the benefit of the audience until Ms. Malcolm comes on. The thing is that we have to understand the workings of our democracy in the Bahamas. It is one of the longest running democracies in this part of the world. It has been a stable democracy. It has its problems, it has its weaknesses, it has its strengths. We've just been having the wrong set of people to run our national affairs. That is a major, major problem. The quality of the people we've been sending to the House of Assembly and into the Senate is a major problem. We have not been examining carefully, and someone asked me no longer than today whether the parties should show better checking on these particular candidates that they're putting out. Let me just say that the constituents in a given constituency, it is their responsibility. What is it that you expect from your parliamentarian? They have to do the job of examining a candidate or any number of candidates and see whether it is what they want. But that has not been the case. You don't see constituents in a given constituency coming together. For example, I draw out two simple illustrations. Number one, you go to church Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. You go to BTC Monday morning, 10 o'clock. But you don't make no mistake to say, you wake up Monday morning, I go into church. I go into St. Barnabas Church today. St. Barnabas ain't having no church. You've been doing that for years. But you never make that mistake. But somehow when it comes to choosing, you all live in the same community, the same constituency, under the same problem, going through the same troubles. And yet you cannot get your act together. Put aside your differences. You do that when you go to BDC. You don't come tell them you're a member of St. Barnabas Church. Then the other one say, I'm a member of the Catholic Church. I'm a member of the Anglican Church. So what you can do then? That never arises on the job. But when it comes to the constituents in a given constituency, you have all these divisions among the constituents. And they're never coming together. They're a big row because this one is a member of this party, this member of that party. And that's allowed under the Constitution. The Constitution allows political parties. There's nothing we could do about that except if we don't want to participate, you don't have to participate. And being a member of a political party doesn't give you the right to vote. Let me make that very clear. That doesn't give you the right to vote. There are certain constitutional qualifications that give you the right to vote in a general election or by-election. That's important. So the thing is that constituents need to organize themselves for the betterment of their constituency. Do they have an interest? I always refer to Article 24.1, which is in your Constitution. Do you have an interest in protecting what you have in your constituency? That is what we need to know. That's what we need to understand.
Okay. All right. So just for the record, so everybody can understand what took place this past weekend, it does not mean that there is no administration in charge. The cabinet still exists. They still have to run the country. It's just that the House of Assembly and its agenda for the previous session is now on hold until October, when a new agenda, I don't know if agenda is the right word, but a new set of laws, etc., will be brought before the House of Assembly for consideration. And according to the Attorney General, they're going to bring back some of the ones that they left on the table. Anyway, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm and Professor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just got a quick statement. You don't feel like it's something as serious as the Constitution of any country. You don't feel like that should be, I don't know if this is the right word, on the curriculum for the school, for the education system? Like they should be teaching us that. I mean, all around the world, for any country. Why to this day they still don't do that?
Let me answer it this way. Don't hold your breath on that.
I
I've been
agree.
waiting for the last 56 years.
I
There
know.
are alternatives, and I can explain some alternative payment people,
That's all.
because we have to do better. You cannot wait on the government of the Bahamas or the Parliament of the Bahamas or the Cabinet of the Bahamas to talk about teaching any constitution in any school. You wait for another 56 years and it won't happen.
Right.
Because we have a track record. What does that track record tell you? There's no interest in that.
Nope.
They seem to like it the way it is. But I'm going to tell the Bahamian people exactly what they can do. So
That
they don't
was my
have to
next
be
question.
fooled or misled or deceived or lied to anymore from this day onward.
Right.
That is important. The Constitution is extremely important for the Bahamian people to make sound decisions, good judgments, and to keep tabs on a government. Is the government operating according to the Constitution? See, that's the question that comes in my head now. Because if you ain't constitutionally sound, you're not operating in my best interest. I don't care what kind of piece of paper you got with some writing on it. That means nothing to me.
Anyway, let me don't hang up the line.
No,
Thank
it's a good
you.
question that you asked. I
Thank you.
appreciate the question.
All right, thank you, Professor.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Malcolm. Y'all keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. For those of you who would like to join in, if you have a question or comment, the numbers once again are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271. My guest today and every Monday, except there's a holiday or something, is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, who is our resident expert on the Constitution of the Bahamas. And every Monday we do what is called a Masterclass Monday, where we have the professor come in and break it down for us. And what it means is it relates to your rights and responsibilities as a citizen of the Bahamas. Okay, so let's look at a couple of the comments that are coming in by way of Facebook. I guess this person is answering the caller. It says the PLP and FNM want Bahamians under complete subjection. Well, towards that comment, I would say this, that we, generally speaking, as a people, like to be spoon-fed. I don't know if that is conditioning, where we have been conditioned to think that that's the only way, or whether it's just a matter of being lazy or cowardly, where we want the change, but we don't want to be the one who is going to stick our neck out to make it happen. We're just sitting back and hoping and waiting that somebody does it, and then we benefit from it on the other side. I don't know what it is, if it's one or both, or, but obviously, if we want to see change in the country, as we often say we do, as the old saying goes, actions speak louder than words. And you can't on the one hand say you want to see change, but you're not willing to be a part of the process to bring about that change. And I think that's why the politicians have gotten away with what they've gotten away with for such a long time, is because they know for whatever reason, our people are very passive. Our people want to be spoon-fed. There's a saying, there's an old saying, and I guess this doesn't only apply to Bahamians, unfortunately. There's a saying, I think it originated in the United States. They said, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. So, too many of us aren't willing to read. We've had people call the show and say, well, why y'all don't challenge the government? So people saying it right now on Facebook. Well, since he know all these things about the Constitution, why he ain't challenged the government? Why are you sitting back waiting for this one man to do what all of us need to be collectively doing? And you often speak about it, Professor.
That's correct.
That's why we can't see no change, because we're looking for a hero. We want somebody to stick their neck out, go and demand a change while we sit back and eat popcorn and watch the show. But we all want benefit from what comes out of that. And that is part of the reason why this has gone on for 50 years. Can you hear me, Professor?
Yes, ma'am. I'm hearing you very clearly. No, I agree with you. I was just wondering if you were finished. The point is, yes, I agree with you. Now, let me say to the Bahamian people, I had to wait 50 years. Let me put it that way. And people are waking up now, and that's a good thing. And when the gentleman called about putting in the schools, they say, don't hold your breath on that. You may have to go for another 56 years for that to happen. But there are alternatives to that. You do not wait on an administration. You do not wait for a representative. You do not wait on a political party. All available evidence shows they're not interested in that. So therefore, the people themselves have to make alternative arrangements. If they're serious about knowing about the Constitution, about knowing how the government of the Bahamas ought to function, because we're not going to be better off if we don't understand our Constitution. It's just as simple as that. You'll be better citizens, you'll be better husbands, you'll be better friends, you'll be better communities. I look at my own community, and I see how some people in that community behave one toward another. Don't let a misunderstanding occur. All kinds of strange things. The point is, we have to be able to work together with each other without having to get personal. Now, this is a major thing I've seen throughout my time in dealing with people in the community. I can get very friendly with you without getting personal. I tell people that all the time. I've had friends who were married, and I knew both the husband and the wife, and they ain't tell me nothing. So they ain't tell me nothing. I don't know nothing. And then the two of them laugh at me when I come to find out that they were husband and wife. But I say, you didn't tell me anything. But the point is, how can you get on well with each other in the community? When you get too personal with people in their personal affairs, they don't like that. They get angry with you. And don't get vexed. All kinds of things start coming out the closet. So we got to overcome that hurdle. And we have to work on it, Bahamians, because it's a deep-seated social problem. I heard some young men when I went to a particular place to do business. And the things they said about the Bahamian woman, it hurt me. It hurt me a lot. Because I say, is this the future of the country? Is the way these young males think? Something is wrong with that. We have to do something about the social behavior of our people. It's very, very bad. Now I have to work on it because I want to see it change. I don't like what I see. I don't like the way how I see my country running. And I'm going to work at it to do something about it. And there will be change. But it takes more than one person to bring about national changes. It takes the collective will of the people. That's why I always go to Article 24.1. That's the only place in your Constitution that gives the Bahamian people the authority to protect their interests. You ain't got to ask no party for nothing. You ain't got to ask the government nothing. You just get out there and do it. Because you're constitutionally sound. You ain't got to ask the police nothing. It's already there in the document. You have a right to protect your interests. But if you just sit back and allow people to just throw things on you, mistreat you, abuse you, mislead you, deceive you, what do you expect? So we got to get organized. And that's very, very important. So we got a lot of work to do. Yes, the shows are very important. I appreciate the comments coming in from people to say how they're learning and all of that. That's fine. That's all well and good. That's only the beginning. There's so much more to do. And so I am delighted that people are waking up to the fact that we have a constitution and how important that constitution is to their life, to their nation. That is very good. Now, all we got to do is keep the pressure up, and we got to keep working at it, and we got to get to know one another better. That's one thing I always say to people. Please get to know your constituents better. The better you know them, the better for all of us, and the better we can see changes as we go down the road.
All right. Okay. I think what we will do now, because we're quite behind as it relates to commercial breaks.
Yes,
so let's go ahead and take this break. And then on the other side, we're going to continue our conversation with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson, as relates to the Constitution of the Bahamas. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lear, safety is our #1 priority. flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, talking with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday as we look at the Constitution. If you'd like to become a part of this dialogue, the numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube on the official channels of Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM. You can also find us on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. And you can download the Global 99.5 app to your smart device and tune in there. And I want to say a huge welcome to all of you listening by way of radio, whether from within the country or without. Welcome to our Masterclass Monday on the Constitution. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, it's always good to hear you on radio.
Thank you.
Michelle Malcolm. I'm an old comrade and friend of yours. I think it was your brother, Adley, the electrician, years ago. Yeah, this constitutional issue is a serious one. That it's a hard button topic in the country. There are, as far as I'm concerned, there's a coup d'etat, and that coup d'etat was going on for some time. In other words, you could be an elected government, but you swear to a certain oath to uphold and enforce and to protect the individual, and the Constitution guarantees that. There's a hard button topic that I am a personal victim of, relative to Princess Margaret Hospital, and he almost died. It is a situation, and it takes more time. But these people are really, really terrible in there. They got a goon squad, or what they call a mercenary, like. And when you ask for help in the situation that I've been in, almost on to death for pain. And then there's a number of cases I know you heard about in the media in recent times, especially the females. A man lost his wife, and the complaint goes on and on. And I have a personal situation. I'm elderly, I'm a senior, and the way they treat me, I thought they treat me like old meat torn aside, like in a butcher shop. It's an issue, and I'm begging, if you had the time, I could send you the information to make that a part of your show. I'm sure a lot of people can speak to that because it needs to be arrested. All of us subject to go to that place, and we have to prepare even not for ourselves, but our fellow Bahamians, people in our communities, and our next generation. If we don't do it, then what? They're going to suffer. And I can tell you, it's not a pretty sight. So I'd admonish that the Constitution is an issue. Constitutional issues is a necessary one at this time to update and educate the public as to the Constitution and the people who are supposed to enforce it. Taxpayers are paying to be treated like animals, and in some cases dead, and nobody's being charged or investigated to see whether or not there was negligent homicide by withholding medical attention from the general public without stabilizing these people with all these pains and suffering. And at the end of the day, if they don't get the treatment, they die. And it goes like that. And we are somebody. We are the general public. And I think you would be the person to be able to really highlight that because you have enough followers, as I know, in this instance. So I appreciate the time and effort that you, but I can leave you. I got some numbers here for you, and I could leave some information to the office for you. And I'd hope that you'd look at it and be able to really have a show on this issue. People are dying, suffering in there.
All right. Thank you, Colin. You can leave your contact information with the producer, and he will forward it to me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and I love your show.
Thank you so much. All right, Professor, let's get back on track. We're talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas. My guest, for those of you who tuned in late, is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson. And for the record, it's been so long since we looked at the core Constitution within itself.
That is correct. Yeah, I was
we keep being drawn all over the place.
All over the place. All over the place. My sister asked me, what are you going to discuss today? I said, I know what I'm supposed to be talking about. But then I said, Miss Malcolm will have to make a determination. as to in which direction we will go. But
Well,
when we
I mean,
meet,
everybody's now up and talking about what took place on Saturday and what that
yes,
means.
it's a topical issue and it's a constitutional issue.
Yes.
I have clear understanding on how the government of the Bahamas ought to function, and I can give constitutional answers to the Bahamian people because it's important that they get the right information. Is the government functioning constitutionally? Is the parliament functioning constitutionally? Because if they're not, then it is of no use to the Bahamian people. It's just as simple as that.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon again. For both of you, I had to ask also Professor Ms. Malcolm how we can go about this. Because I hear you keep saying this. I know we gotta come together, but we need to do. We have to have a rally or something, mate. So we could, because we gotta come together some kind of way in order to do what we need to do constitutionally. The Constitution says we gotta come together, right, as one. So we need to start some rallies or something, peaceful rallies, and that's something gotta give. That's all I got to say. And listening.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for calling.
The caller raised an interesting point. And I think this is in the minds of a lot of people. What course of action should you take? Let me put it to you this way. We've had people who try to organize rallies. We've had people who try to organize demonstrations. You get very little support in terms of numbers. Now, of course, I simply say, let us ask the Bahamian people, what is it that you want to do? Because maybe we have not put that question to them. What is it that you want to do? You see what's happening in many other countries around the world when they want change. What are we prepared to do as Bahamian citizens? See, our situation is very unique in the sense, and let me say this to you, because we had another country which had a violent overthrow of its government. And now the fellows say they can charge the man with treason who they overthrow. And they need to be charged with treason. But the point is, we've had the most stable democracy in this part of the world for almost 300 years. That is a record hardly any country on the planet has. We need to keep that. We have our problems, yes. We have our trials, yes. But I think we as Bahamians need to do some thinking. Ask ourselves, what is it we want to do? See the constituencies? Constituents need to sit and talk to each other. What is it that we want to do in our constituency? What is it that we can come together to do? And if you're not sure, you call me. I'll be happy to come and talk to you and help you. Because I want to see change, Bahamians. I don't like what I see happening here. But then if the people call for the rallies, the people who organize these things, and people have done some things and they are well-intentioned persons, but you don't support them. You don't give them your support. What is wrong? Tell them what they need to do. But you're not saying anything. You're just staying away in the dark. But you're not communicating with them. And I know a lot of people who are well-intentioned, well-meaning. See, I know the Bahamian people. See, I can know whether you're ready or not. You can't fool Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. This is a veteran, a serious veteran. So you could say anything you want to say to me, and I might smile and look at you right in the eye and know you're lying to me. You ain't ready for nothing. So I'm saying that the Bahamian people, please be kind to one another. Be honest with one another. Be friendly with one another. Not personal now. Stay away them personal things. Now they want to talk personal things to you on their own accord. That's their business. But Bahamians, we've got to do something about our country. If you're not sure, I can give my number. You call me. I'll be happy to come and help you. Because I want to see change. I am not happy with the way the young men are treating themselves in this country. I'm not happy about that. They have a role to play. The incident that occurred somewhere in Chippenham, where a 19-year-old stabbed up a 26-year-old, I think it is. Yes, 26. They had to take him in a car to the hospital in fact, this person, as I understood from the last report, very serious condition. So that man is sick. Just because there was an argument. I try to stay out of arguments now because, you ain't know what people got on them. But the thing is that those of us who know better like me, I can do better. Now, I'm prepared to communicate with you and to talk with you and help you to change things in your country. And you got to find others who are prepared to do it too. But the point is, go ahead.
There's a comment coming in
okay.
On Facebook. It says, does Mr. Thompson have anything in writing like the Constitution made simple, etc.?
Well, no, not like that. No, I think someone did that. One particular lady talked about putting it in layman's language, which is fine. And that was the way the author did that at that time. And I think that is still available to the public. See, there are many ways you can deal with the Constitution. We got to put it in language where the little children in the preschools could understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because the way I'm talking on the air now, you can't talk that to a little 3-year-old, 2-year-old. You have to change the language. Primary school, same thing. High school, same thing. College level, well, you could, talk to them a little differently. But the point is, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. See, a lot of people don't understand what goes into these shows every Monday, But the point is, it's work, Bahamians. It's not easy. When the people decided to wake up about the Constitution, I was so excited. I say all they did was give me more work to do. And I mind that. Because I waited 50 years. 50 years is a long time to wait. Now I won't wait another 50. But the point is, if you're not sure, you ask. If you're not able to get me, call the radio station, leave your contact, and I'll get to you. That's all you have to do. The books say, ask and you will receive, seek and you will find. Now, I can be calling on you, in the very near future. Because I see the need for the collective will, Article 24.1. See, I ain't going outside the Constitution. Everything I do is constitutionally sound. And anybody want to challenge me on it, I ain't got no problem with that. But you got to make sure you know what you're talking about. And you got to understand what the document says. But if go ahead, Ms. Malcolm.
Speaking of understanding what the document says, people hear you say you need to make it so simple that a child will understand.
And, yes, that is true.
And really, people don't take that seriously. But, I remember growing up, when I was a kid, we used to watch cartoons every Saturday morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And during the commercial breaks, albeit these were American stations we were watching, because back then, if you had an antenna up on top of your house, you could pick up, the American TV stations.
Yes, ma'am.
And during the commercial breaks in between Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner and all the others, they had little animated commercials with catchy music that would attract a child. And those commercials really taught children about the American structure of government. There were some that talked about the various aspects of the language. So teaching you conjunctions, what a conjunction is.
Yes.
There was one I remember very specifically talking about a bill and the way a bill functions in the United States system, and how it goes from one house to the next and has to be signed off by this one and a veto. But they explained that for children.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, we as little children knew more about the American system of government than we did about the system of government in our own country.
That's correct.
Because they took the time to put it in a packaging that even a 6-year-old could understand. So
That's
if you're
correct.
listening to this show, I don't want you to say, "Oh, Professor, you're talking to yourself," because children can't understand this.
Yes, they
And the
can.
way it's being presented on the show, no. But there are very creative ways, if there was a will to teach this to the masses,
Yes.
that you could put it in such a way that a 6-year-old could understand it. But there has
Yes.
to be that will. And I'm not
Yes.
convinced that there is that will.
No, you're correct, Ms. Malcolm, because I know the little children would not understand as I present it to a mature audience on
Right.
air like it is now. That's understandable. But there are any number of ways you can deal with the Constitution. And it takes proper planning, it takes funding, it takes work, it takes time, it takes effort. And I say this to people, I say, you don't understand what goes behind the scenes when I'm not on air. You don't know that. It is not something where you just pick up just like that and pray presto, it's done. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. So when you hear Professor Thompson speaking on the air, you know how many people were involved in that for me to be able to say what I'm saying on air? We got to have people to do research. We got to have people to research information. Research is very, very important because I want to be accurate. I have to be precise. And a lot of things I have to read and study carefully, even though I have others looking over it. Because you see, I want to be absolutely sure that the information is constitutionally sound, what I say on the air. And if someone brings something to me and I am not certain, to say, no, I got to check into that a little bit more before I deal with that. So, yes, Ms. Malcolm, you are correct. It has to be put in simple, basic language with little children. And that has to be designed, that has to be put together, and it takes a lot of hard work and commitment to do that. So I want people to understand that, I am delighted that people are interested in the Constitution. That's a step in the right direction because we have a lot of problems that need solving. So we got to move it on more than one front. And I'm discussing some things with my people to see how we can move to be able to make some things happen. And Bahamians, you got to be patient because, this is not something that you just snap your finger and it happens. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of hard work that happens behind the scenes. You don't see it, you don't hear about it, but it has to happen. Otherwise, I can't be on air every Monday. Just as simple as that. And as
I
we
want to
grow
read
and
this
expand,
comment.
okay.
Yeah. This says, sometimes, this is from Perlian, says, sometimes I really wonder if the message to the Bahamian people really gets out there to the public at large. I say this because I live in the USA and I know more than my family that lives home. I am the one that tells them most things that are going on home in the Bahamas. I believe it is because people are busy working hard to pay their bills and are afraid of losing their jobs.
Well, let me put it this way. I can speak about the fact that being a Bahamian myself and having lived in the Bahamas all my life, because this is the country where I was born, you have to understand the psyche of the Bahamian people. You have to understand what went on before. What were the prevailing conditions? Yes, some people are afraid of losing their jobs. Some people are scared. They are fearful. Now, they have to overcome that fear, and it takes time for them to overcome it. Now, Bahamians, you can't take too long now because we just got too many problems that need solving. And it's going to take you to take a leap of faith. You believe in God? You trust God? The Constitution speaks to that. Christian values and the rule of law. A national commitment to do some things. A national commitment to discipline. Discipline. The lack of discipline is a major national problem. I see it every day. We have some people in this country who shouldn't even be here, and they're causing problems. See, all of those factors have an impact on the lives of the people who are Bahamian citizens and who are Bahamian residents. This is our home. So we have to do something to protect it. There's a lot we can do, and you're going to be called upon to help and assist. You can't just stay in the background and expect things to happen. It doesn't work that way. But we have to help one another. We have to help our brothers and help our sisters. So when people ask me, and sometimes people ask me the questions over and over and over and over again, I don't get upset with them, because I know for most of them, the information is relatively new. They're probably hearing it for the first time in this format. But the thing is that I am delighted that they are waking up. That's a positive thing. It's just that you have to build on that positiveness and carry it forward. That's why I say to people, talk to your neighbors. Get on well with your neighbors in the area where you live. That's where you start, right there. And you'll be surprised to know what kind of change you can have on them, even though some of them just carry on kind of awkward sometimes, but you have to live with that. And circumstances in their lives may have contributed to the fact that they behave that way. But then they could change. As long as you're in this flesh, you could change. You see? So you're not set in stone. People behave certain different ways because of what has happened to them in their lifetime. But they want to change. They want to see change. They want to see things better in their community. I don't think there's any person you'll find who'll say, no, I don't want a better life in my community. Because when the community improves, all of us improve. But we have to be prepared to work with one another, help one another, support one another in that regard. Ms. Malcolm? Oh, she has a mic muted. Ms. Malcolm, I think your mic is...
Okay, it's unmuted now.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But anyway, we're going to take this break on this Masterclass Monday. On the other side, we will be back with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson, as we wrap things up. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Lasted love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Radio 99.5.
We are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday as we look at the Constitution. I have a question for you, Professor, that is coming in by way of WhatsApp. And the question is, what is the opposition's role during the proroguing process?
That is a good question, you know. Well, the opposition won't be functioning in the House of Assembly. Let's put it that way. Really, they won't be doing anything. Everything stops because the House has been prorogued. Remember now, the opposition only functions as long as the House is in operation. That is the official opposition. Let me make that clear now. Not the party. Party is a different kettle of fish. The official opposition only functions as long as the House is in session or the parliamentary session is waking. So they come to a stop as far as their work with the House is concerned. But I heard them say they're going to still do their work with their committees and so on like that, which they can do. But there's nothing they will be doing in Parliament because the decision to prorogue the House was by the Prime Minister. He in turn informed the Governor General, and the Governor General in turn informed the Provost Marshal. Then he reads the proclamation.
But it's
So
like
really,
you often say, Professor, that we need to know the difference between the party and the opposition. Right.
Yes. And
Right.
see, this is why I keep saying to people, you have to understand the system. And I can understand why people are so confused. I'm not disturbed over it in the sense that people are asking a lot of questions, which is good, which means the interest is there. And I want the interest to get higher and better. It can get better if we learn to get on well with each other on the ground in all these constituencies, because some things I see happening in certain areas, I don't like it. Because the way how people handle one another, the way how they treat one another, all that blocks progress. The thing is, we don't have much time. The time to bring change is very, very serious. And it's very short. You ain't gonna have another 50 years to deal with this, you know. You got to deal with it now while you are here. And I can give out my number, 465-5786, 465-5786. Give me a call. I'll be prepared to help you. You're not sure how to move in that given community where you are? Not a problem. I'll be happy to help because I want to see change in my own community. I'm disturbed over some things I see there. But we have to work that. We have to deal with that. And so it's important that we move forward and get to know one another better so we can have better relationships, and then the communities improve, the people improve, and we can have a better country. Because see, knowing the Constitution makes it better for all of us. Better citizens, better husbands, better children, better everything. That's why you have a constitution, and this constitution is extremely important. You know how many countries want to have a constitution like this? They'll be playing games. Or we don't misunderstand. We don't understand how important that document is. Ask the people in Niger. Ask the people in these other countries in Africa where they have just had another violent overthrow of a government. Then the people say they can charge the man with treason. and they need to be charged with treason. So it's important that we understand we can do better. We have a parliamentary system that has been intact for almost 300 years. Bahamas, don't mess it up, please. We don't have to mess up that. Now, you might disagree with what the government is doing. Fine. I disagree too, particularly when they're not constitutionally sound. But there's a way to deal with a government. There's the way to deal with a parliamentarian who doesn't go according to the Constitution. You might get vexed and get upset and get mad and all that. Take that energy and turn it and make it positive for the advancement of your community, for the advancement of your constituency. And
Okay.
then the country will be better.
That's our time, Professor.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in and
Yes, ma'am.
helping us to better understand what took place over this past weekend with the proroguing of Parliament.
Yes, ma'am.
And what that means from a constitutional standpoint. It's 4 o'clock. Got to get out of here. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we're going to have another interesting show planned for you as we look ahead and look around us and see what's happening in our country. Thank you, Professor, for being here and for your input as always. Until tomorrow, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global.